Hello, my name is Tom Lidke, and today we're going to be doing an MA3 Getting Started tutorial. So let's go ahead and jump into the software. Here's MA3. This is a blank show file, just started. If you don't have a blank show file currently, you can go ahead and load this settings icon here. Go to Backup, and you can click New Show. And you can title your show whatever you like. Check all these icons and click New Show. Let's patch some fixtures. So if we look over here, I have a spreadsheet from Capture with all my fixture IDs and addresses. So let's go into the patch. To do that, you click the gear icon, go to Patch, and immediately we're brought into the library. So the fixtures I have in here are Martin PXLs, Rox Lights Cluster Blinders, Vipers, Mac 1s, and none of those fixtures are in the current library. If you search PXL, it doesn't come up. Viper, I have an XIP Viper, which is the new one, also not in the library. So we have to fetch profiles. We're going to go to the GTDF-Share website. This is the GTDF-Share website. It is an amazing platform that gives you access to all the fixture profiles you would ever want. You can even make your own fixture profiles here, but we're not going to cover that in today's tutorial. To find the profile you'd want, you're going to go to Find Fixture and log in. But once you do that, you'll have access to all of these fixtures. So all you got to do is type in the fixture that you're looking for. In this case, we're looking for Aura PXLs. Do a search. And I can see that ones from the manufacturer are uploaded. Those are going to be your best bet, most likely. You can see here it's been tested in real life. It's a 3D file. This indicates that it's from the manufacturer. Not sure what that is. And this is the version number for the GTDF. You see you have all the wheels and parameters, and because it's not just one mode with a GTDF file, the GTDF file actually can contain multiple modes. So in this thing I have profile, I have the compact, basic, extended, and ludicrous mode for this fixture, which is great. Once you have your fixture profiles, you're going to need to load them into the software. To make life easier, I'm going to load it on a USB drive. And I plug that in now. Assuming that you have saved a show to your USB, it will then auto-populate the necessary directories that you'll need to drag your GTDF files in. So, if you go into the MA3 folder, Shared Library, and then go down to Fixture Types, this is where you'll drag in your GTDF files. As you can see, I've already done that onto the stick, so we are all set. So now that I have my USB drive loaded in, I can change this from internal to USB. And now I have access to all the fixtures that I've downloaded and imported. Going back to our patch sheet here, I can see that we have PXLs in basic mode, so I'm going to go ahead and grab PXLs basic, select. Automatically, the software will suggest names for the fixtures. So you can just go ahead and name those. Quantity. That number I do not have off the top of my head. To make life easier, I'm going to patch 20 of them. I'm going to leave the fixture ID blank for now, as well as the patch. Okay. We have 20 Mac auras here, PXLs. Let's keep on patching. Go back to, you're going to, once you patch fixtures, you're going to be in the show section. You're going to want to go back to library and USB to get back to your fixtures. So I know I have Mac 1s, and I have those in compact mode. I know I have 10 of those guys. And name that Mac 1, just because we can. My fixture IDs for the Mac 1 start at 301. And the address, since it's all in one universe and sequential, I'm going to patch that at universe 4.1. So that's universe 4, address 1. Please. And there we go. We have those guys. 2 more fixture types. So previously, you used to have layers that would group the fixtures. Now I just have all these fixtures loose in a patch. It's pretty poor for organization. To combat that, we're going to go in the library and search for grouping. This will allow us to take advantage of the grouping structure, the tree structure in MA3. Just going to call it group 1 for now, patch a quantity of 6. So now for organization purposes, we can start labeling our trusses. So we got front of house, downstage truss, upstage truss, upstage floor, mid-stage floor. Also don't need the 6 groups, so we're going to delete that. Right-click on this column here to organize by name. And I'm going to start patching fixtures. And as I patch them, I'm going to move them to their corresponding group. So I'm going to start by filtering here and we're going to start with the downstage truss. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 PXLs on that. So I'm going to grab this, lasso 6 PXLs. That's a left click and drag down. And then I'm going to right click the column there. The starting address is 2.1. Fixture IDs start at 111. Now that I have that, I'm going to cut. Go to our downstage truss. Use the down arrow here to open up the drop tree structure. Click New Fixture and click Paste. Scroll down to our Vipers here. And I have 4 Vipers. Again, lassoing and clicking. Going to patch those at 2.193. Their fixture IDs start at 211. Cut. Scroll up to our group and paste. That's 1 electric down. Woohoo! So now that our patch is relatively organized, we can click the X here, save and exit. Now our fixture sheet has everything. So depending on your situation, if you're on a console and you're using straight DMX out of the back of the console, not a problem. In my case, I have a network setup and I'm sending sACN to a capture file. So to see your sACN DMX protocols, first you want to make sure you go to network and that you're in session, and I am connected to both my node and the on PC, on my other laptop, and then you want to go to DMX protocols. And in here, you will see ArtNet and sACN. And this is where you can really go in and configure what you're doing. In my case, I'm going to grab the interface, which is the Ethernet on my desktop. Going to enable down here sACN. I want 4 universes. Again, local start 1. That is the local start is the address or universe that you patch in the patch, while the sACN universe is what it's on the node. Typically, they can be the same. However, in some instances, they might not always be that. So with that selected, I'm multicasting, and I'm going to enable the output. And if we look over here on capture now, I am receiving sACN. Everything's on. We see our dancing people. Clear those guys out. If you had hardline DMX coming out of the console instead of a network system, you'd want to go into the connector configurator. And in here, you can see your hardware and what ports are assigned. And you can change them accordingly if you're patched on a different universe. Let's get started making views. So, all of these dots are user assignable area. You can click anywhere and put anything anywhere. Some things require a certain amount of space, so they won't scale down to a certain size. For example, I can't put a clock in that corner. It's not big enough to fit one. Other than that, the world's your oyster. You can make anything anywhere. Click anywhere on a blank space, and you can click delete screen, and that will clear the screen, as well as clicking on a blank view will clear a screen. We're going to start with a fixture selection window. So I like to go into the common fixture sheet, move that guy over here. I also like to have a selection grid. So that's also under common. And then I want to make a groups pool. So data pools, groups. And you see it didn't really scale properly since I have sort of like a half section. So you want to just, fudge the difference there to get you a full row or whatever you're looking for. In my case, this is good enough. I'm going to store this. View 1. Label it selection. And this little icon here is a thumbnail icon, which means now that I've selected that, hit OK, it actually takes a screenshot and we'll have that as the pool item. Let's make a preset window. So I click on an empty view, go in here, and I'll do presets dynamic. So what dynamic does, if you see down at the bottom, each section has a number: dimmer, position, gobo, color, beam, focus, control, etc. Each one has a number, and the one that you have selected will be what your dynamic preset goes to. You have other options, such as actually selecting the feature groups and putting those in instead. So if you want to do like a gobo pool and then maybe like a focus pool underneath that, positions over here, dimmer, color, that's an option. I personally like to have the dynamic pool and have a color picker on the same window. The color picker has been renamed, so you no longer have You can no longer search color picker. It's the special dialog box now, which now also includes shapers for fixtures that have framing shutters. I'm going to store that as a preset or as a view. Label it preset. Now that we have some basic views, let's go ahead and make some lights actually do something. So let's make some groups. There are many ways to do this. Today, we're going to show off the Show Creator tool. In Show Creator, again, it's Settings, Show Creator, you can create groups. So we could make one for each fixture type just by lassoing, clicking Create All. It'll prompt you for each one. And that made an all group for every fixture type. Could be very useful. In the advanced section is when you start to break things down and have a lot of flexibility. So I just want my downstage auras. I lasso them, click an open pool, create all, call it downstage aura. Same here, we'll do click an open pool, downstage viper. So now you see all our groups have been made. I'm going to clear out. And when you grab them, they show up here in the grid view. Now that we have some basic groups created, we can now take those and expand them into something bigger. So I'm going to get rid of those guys. And we're going to look at our auras for a second. So we have our upstage auras and our downstage auras. Pretty straightforward. So I'm going to put our upstage auras there and our downstage auras. I'm going to click in the grid view here. And wherever you move this box is where your next selection will go. So I'm going to click right underneath that. And now I have the auras aligned in a group. I'm going to store that as a new group and label it auras. So now the auras are in a grid together and they will work as such with phasers. Let's make a phaser view. You have down here a phaser button, which will temporarily bring up a quick phaser window. That's nice, but we want a little more than that. We're going to make a phaser window of our own. Click on blank view, open the phaser editor. Phasers are effects in MA3, and they can be stored in whatever pool you like. In my case, I'm going to use the all pool, and I use the first all pool. You have 5. I use the first all pool as the predefined effects section. So, how do you import predefined phasers? Well, you now do that with macros. So, we're going to make a little macro window down here. Right click in the macros. Go import. And then you want to type in here, import predefined phasers. Enter. And all this macro does is it changes the preset destination and it stores at the all pool 1, preset 1. Now, if you have anything in here, it's going to prompt you to overwrite or merge. If you don't want to use that pool, you can change that pool item, but in our case, it's blank, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Import Predefined. And that imports all these predefined effects that give you a lot to work with. So I'm going to save this view as a phaser view. I'm also going to make another view And I'm just going to call it, I'm going to use all pool 2. And I'm just going to call this my effects pool. That's going to be for anything that's not a predefined effect. So to demonstrate what we can do with our effects, I'm going to turn on these Mac 1s, tilt them out towards us. Go to phaser, apply a predefined phaser. And you can see once I click that, it automatically starts running. Now, if I apply a phase down here in the MA3 section, you can see we have a very nice rainbow chase going. And this is as easy as just clicking whatever effect you want, and it starts stacking. We'll go into the effects engine much more in depth in a future video. This has been our basic getting started video. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to making more videos.